Hello. Hello. All right. This is our next episode in the My Influencers series. And this one's very cool. I just think God is pretty funny how he has people that he brings into your life and sometimes you don't even see it coming. And this is one of those people. Naudia has been somebody I've known for a very long time. You'll hear us talk about it. And a few years back, which you'll also hear us talk about, he, I guess, reintroduced her to me in my life. And I think it's pretty wonderful how you can have seasons where he provides to you just that person you need in the time that you need it. And it's funny because even as I talk about it right now, I find myself getting emotional because Naudia has been, I don't even know how to describe it. She has been a source of inspiration and motivation and friendship and connection and mindset. She has been somebody in my life that has influenced me in so many ways. And I'm grateful and thankful to call her friend. And I hope through this episode you hear our hearts for those that we serve. So Naudia is she's part of my coaching team, and she's somebody who just lights a fire under us all the time. And yeah, so you're gonna hear all about her, and they have a pretty powerful story, her and her husband, and it's just been really wonderful to, just see God at work in their lives. And I know that, she's somebody that I know is changing the world every single day. And she has such a heart to serve people and for them to be the best that they could possibly be. And so anyways, with that, here's my friend Naudia, and I hope that you enjoy this episode, and I'm sure you'll see even just a few minutes in why she is one of my influencers. Hello, fellow plate spinners. I'm really glad you're here for your weekly dose of authenticity and joy. I'm Selena Johnson, and your guide through this chaos of busy lives. In each episode, we unpack real tools to conquer overwhelm and dodge burnout. It's all about creating space for what truly matters. Whether it be through solo reflections or inspiring guests, this is your sanctuary for a more centered, productive you, with a healthy serving of that joy we talked about. Get ready to hit pause on life while we dive in to some real chats. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so we have a very close friend of mine and a special person in my life, and she's definitely an influencer in my life. And if you are in social media with me, if you are in our community, if Naudia Bosch, but if you don't know Naudia Bosch, first of all, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad to have you here. Yes. I want you to first introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at in life, and then we'll kind of get into all the good chatter.
Okay, well, Naudia Bosch, obviously, you just heard that.
Mm-hmm.
I am currently a student activities teacher. I know a student leadership teacher. I know that isn't familiar with a lot of people, but basically, to keep it simple, the person that my students put on like all the assemblies and homecoming, and we do student government, like all the elected positions and student council and all that kind of stuff. So that's my day job is that I am married. I just celebrated my 26th anniversary the other day. Yeah, and we have 3 kids, 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So that's quite the adventure since there's such a gap between the first two and the third. It's amazing what that third one gets to do that the other two didn't, but
yeah. Even my first to second were not very far apart. I hear you.
yeah, and I've been teaching, my background is teaching special education. So I've been teaching since 2005. So about 18, whatever, 19, something. It's getting close to 20 years. So
Mm-hmm.
I got to open a brand new school also, which was it's been amazing. I'm there, I'm still there now. I've been there 7 years, and that's been a super incredible experience, challenge, rewarding, all the things. It's been really great. Yeah, I attend Gold Creek Community Church and been there for 14 years. Absolutely love being connected with that community, and yeah,
And really involved too, I know, with a lot of the programs there. Yeah.
so that's a little
Well,
bit.
so Nadia and I know each other. Well, we went to high school together, so that's like I guess we should start there. So we went to high school together, and let's just tell a little
Long
bit of our
time ago,
long
unfortunately.
time, a long time ago. I was doing math the other day, and I think we're almost 30 years.
I
So
know, I cannot even
like,
believe
like
that.
what
I'm
what?
not that old.
I don't understand at all, but anyways, so we went to high school together. We knew each other and of each other. We did not spend a lot of time together. We weren't close.
Had a lot of mutual friends.
No, yeah. And so life happened. We went into the world and, found our footing and way, kind of. I think both of us
Yeah,
would say, kind of.
yeah.
And then, it's funny how God works because I think that, well, we have talked so much, which is why you're such an influencer of mine. It's like there is a purpose that we've been brought into each other's life at this season of our life, and it's been really beautiful. So I would say it's been 6 years ago, because I'm almost 6 years
Okay.
coaching. So 6 years, 8 years ago, you guys know my story. I, found body and found really a avenue and a system for going from rock bottom to actually feeling like myself. And Nadia, on a similar journey and a whole other method and way, found the same system. And we were both kind of doing it side by side, separate. You'd stepped away from it for a while, right? Like you'd had a rough
Well,
season.
I mean, I 2019, that's when we kind of when we connected.
Yeah,
I
so that would
started,
be
yeah,
okay,
that's
good.
about,
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good, good.
I
Glad
was doing
someone's keeping
body,
track because it
yeah.
just feels like forever is what it
I
feels
know
like.
milestone dates,
Yeah.
years, but I
Tell us your
started
story.
it in 2009 after I had Archer, and I always just did the workouts, right? Like I was doing the workouts and all those things. And then I saw you showing up doing stuff on Facebook, seeing some posts like, wait, and I really didn't know there was a whole behind the scenes and there was anything beyond just doing workouts, right? So anyway,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so I was just going through life, we having
Yeah.
our life issues and all the things, and I was going kind of on a roller coaster with my health and stuff. So when we connected, that was my time to refocus, like take care of myself, quit making excuses, doing all those things. And yeah, that's
Yeah. And I think too it was something I didn't see coming. You were someone again that I knew of, and I just thought you were the strongest person I knew inside and out. I just was like, oh, she's not going to need anything. And I think that's a really good example of, first of all, don't assume what's going on in somebody's world and life.
yeah,
And second of all, we do all need someone,
yeah,
something, community to kind of keep us on the rails, if you will. So
yeah,
I
sure.
love that you reached out. And anyway, we've been in community together for now 5 years.
Yeah.
And during that time, I would say, I'm going to get emotional. I didn't expect that. Wow, that came up quick. Funny how that works.
It's funny how,
But
Selena, you're always surprised that you get
I
emotional.
know. You know me so well. I don't know. It just comes, and then I'm like, oh, this is, I guess we're feeling something. But, I think, during the last 5 years, especially Nadia, you and I have kind of been on the ride together. We both made the decision to coach others, to partner with each other, to partner with the
Mhm.
community, and to see how God could use us in that capacity. I think we both felt called separately, and therefore ended up together on that journey
Mhm.
of leading others into their own health goals and fitness goals. And, I think for me, and I don't know about you, but it started so much out as like just feeling better physically. Like, I'd had circulation issues. I was burnt out. So I was very much like not moving my body and all of that. But it's turned into such a journey of mindset. And
Mhm.
I didn't see that coming for
Yeah.
me. And I know you and I, we could literally, this could be a 4 hour podcast on
Yeah.
mindset. You and I
So
both
many
feel.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or anything. Yeah. Um,
I didn't either. I mean,
yeah.
I just posted, well, not just, I posted a while back about, I recommitted to myself to get my body back, right? Like I wanted to be in shape. I didn't like where I was at, how I was feeling, letting circumstances dictate how I took care of myself. And it really was like, I couldn't fit into my pants. I bought all these pants at Costco that had like, elastic waistbands,
Mm.
like travel pants, right? And
Yeah.
I was going, okay, I am done with this.
Yeah.
And it was all about fitting into the clothes, right? Get
Yeah.
feeling better for the outside.
Mhm.
And I didn't expect, I wasn't doing personal development prior to that. I would here and there, things like that, but it wasn't an intentional
Mhm.
choice. I wasn't doing just morning routine stuff. It was sort of get up a half hour before so I could work out, right?
Yep.
There
Yep.
wasn't a
Just
whole
in
lot of,
time.
yeah,
Just in
just
time.
enough
Yep.
time to get that workout in. So, and yeah, I did see results from that as far as physical results. But as we partnered, you and I, adding those things in to the health journey, right? It's not just about getting your body in shape. If your mind isn't healthy, your body, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't really
Mhm.
matter
That's
how
right.
great you look if you are still miserable and depressed
Right.
or self-sabotaging in your mind, whatever it is.
Mhm.
So that mindset journey was unexpected for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, what you just said, I love it, how you talked about you didn't have like these habits already formed and, the things that fuel all of it. And I just thought about that just this morning as I was getting ready. I was like, I used to not dance in my kitchen before. I used to not sit and, be in God's word first thing in the morning. I used to not like, get online with a community. And I was thinking about all the things that were habits I did not have.
And you didn't have time for,
Yeah, I didn't have time for it.
right? You didn't have
Yep.
time for any of that.
Nope. And now suddenly, not suddenly, let's take that out of the equation because it's not
Yeah.
sudden. But like
No.
over time, it kind of dawned on me this morning. I love it when it hits you fresh, but I'm like, these, that's what stacking is all about. That's what forming habits and actually finding the capacity to lean into the habits, are going to fuel everything else rather than, we all have habits. I mean, you wake
Yeah.
up in the morning, you brush your teeth, hopefully, right?
Right. Yeah.
But how are we incorporating habits that are going to actually move us forward in life? And I think you and I both have experienced like watching people go from this place of perfectionism that you just start out one day and these are
Yeah.
the habits that are formed and you
You just have
stick
it
with
all
it.
down. Yeah.
No. So let's talk about like how we get there because that's been a process for each of us. And I know for so many that we work with.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you
Well,
encourage people?
I mean, over the course of the years, right, I've learned a lot and I'm still learning. I
Mhm.
have gone through, I would just say slumps, right? You go through a slump, you're not doing all the things, and that's totally normal. The difference is now I have the mindset tools that I can recognize it, accept where I'm at, and either continue that or accept where I'm at and say, okay, what do I need to change? But that process really went from making that space. I told you that 30 minutes, right?
Mhm.
Making a space for something. And the one book I plug constantly is Mini Habits.
Mhm.
It's a tiny little book, really short read, but the basic message of the book is start something so small you can't fail. And one of the examples he uses was he wanted to do a 30-minute workout. He kept failing at it, wasn't doing it. So he decided, forget it. I'm just going to do one push-up a day. Make it so small I can't fail.
Mhm.
And that's what he did. And sometimes he would forget and remember right at the end of the night and he'd flip over in bed, do his one push-up, and he had that success. And I think that is the key, is to planning in something that you can be successful at instead of planning in something that you're going in your mind like, oh, I wonder if I'm gonna do this or not.
Yeah.
Can I do it? Do I have time to do it? All the things that go in our mind that, first of all, put the roadblock in our mind up like, oh, I might be able to get this 30-minute workout.
Right.
I don't know if I will or not, but you got to start with something you know you can succeed at, because your brain then, as soon as that whole point of him doing the push-up is like, you get the push-up in, you get the success, you get the feeling, all the stuff, all the chemicals that go in your mind give you the reward that you need to continue the next day. And of course, the push-up turned into 10 push-ups, turned into this. And then it, like you talked about stacking, it went from there. He finally reached his 30-minute workout goal by starting with that little thing. And I think you got to pick something wherever you're at in life, whether it's working out professionally, whether you want to read the Bible, in a year or something, because think about that. Oh my gosh, the Bible, the entire Bible in a year, committing to that in our mind, is a huge feat. So you got to back it way up and be like,
Yeah.
can I
And
read for
like
1 minute
I'm
a
doing
day?
Bible recap, and it's she says on average it's 12 minutes a day reading the Bible. Well, that feels way more achievable than
Mhm.
365 days. And then also allowing yourself the space to do what, like you said, no, is attainable. So like, what if you read the Bible in 2 years? Like,
Yeah, well,
why,
exactly. Right.
why do
What
we
if
have to
there
do
wasn't,
this,
yeah,
run a marathon out of the gate? Like, that's not,
exactly. I think
necessary.
that's huge, is just, again, not letting that big thing, like, oh, I want to achieve this big thing, be the roadblock that, oh, I could never do that.
Mhm.
So break it down and figure out what that little tiny simple thing is that you can do. And then you work from there. It's like
Right.
starting with the 2 pound weights. Just
Mm-hmm.
because you can only do 2 pounds, that is going to add up.
Yeah.
No weights, right? You do the thing, you do a bicep curl with no weights. It doesn't matter. You're creating a muscle memory for that action. And then it's like, oh, 2 pounds, I could do it. Oh, 5 pounds, look at this, right?
Yeah.
You
And
have
I think
to,
that's the mindset piece, because we do tend to think that we have to already be there. And
Mhm.
we I know it sounds so cliche, and we talk about, like, this is a lifelong process. And I loved how you said you and I have both this past year been through a season of, like, we've talked a lot about, like, it's not going great. Like, I
Right.
don't, it's not, I'm not nailing it. And I think both of us were even going through the motions oftentimes. And so let's talk about like that piece of it where you're maybe, because this is what I think. I want to know what you think. So when we scroll through Instagram, which, bless it, I'm so glad that the health industry is headed the way it's headed, and I'm so glad we have real women showing up,
Mhm.
moving their bodies and doing it with kids at foot and all that. I love
Yeah.
all of that. But what also happens as we scroll is we kind of think everyone's nailing it because we're seeing the
Right.
highlights, right? So
Yeah.
behind the scenes, though, what is that process for you when you're not nailing it? Because we've had that. But you and I both this past year had that big
Yeah.
struggle.
Yeah.
It's been a thing.
Yeah, right. Before I talk about that, I do want to just reiterate what you were saying about the scrolling. I mean, we are in a time like never before, and we're desensitized to everything. We're desensitized to trauma. You scroll, you see a hurricane, however many people, whatever. Okay, oh, that's horrible. Scroll. We
Yeah.
see this and that, but it's the same thing with the what you're talking about. You see the highlight reel, and I know we all have talked about this, but it's our brains cannot comprehend all that's going on. We can tell ourselves all we want that, oh, that person has worked really hard. It didn't happen overnight. But when we see it, our brain thinks it, right? We see
Right.
the success happen. Boom. That just happened. They've
Yeah.
been doing that. They've got it all together. All of those things, you're just fighting a losing battle with, so you have to have boundaries around that, right? You have to figure
Right.
that out
Especially
and
when you
figure out.
scroll and see 10
Yeah.
people in a row killing it.
Well, especially because
You know?
that's then what's going to pop up in your feed is, oh, you looked at
That's right.
this and that.
That's
So
right.
that's a whole other topic. But
I think there's a whole show on that you can go
yeah.
watch. Social Dilemma, right?
Well, and you gotta, it is part of your mindset though. You
Yeah.
have to identify that you're seeing it, what you're thinking about it. Is it fueling you? Because that will prevent your mindset from moving forward, right? If you
Yep.
feed into that and have all those negative thoughts because you're seeing all this stuff. So anyway, I digress. But
And I think too, we're like, just to add, I think we're kind of doing it in the back of our minds, is like, well, and almost like with the excuse or the notion that it's inspiration. Like, I'm
mhm,
doing this because it's inspiration. But if you're not putting that into action, you're just letting it build up in your mind that you're
right.
failing. and you're
Yeah.
not getting it
Yeah.
done. So
Yeah.
just want to add that.
So as far as how to deal with the not
Mhm.
being 100% and not
Mhm.
nailing it all the time. I mean, who does? I don't know. Um,
No one
I
on this podcast at this moment.
yeah, yeah, I think I mentioned this in our group at some point. Um, I know that when I'm not doing these certain things are not going to happen, right? Things are not going to move forward. I can maintain a healthy weight or whatever and this and that, but if I'm not reading something to fuel my
Mhm.
mind, because our brain
Mhm.
has to keep growing and developing, it's craving it, right? Our brains are super computers. They're
Yes.
if I'm not paying attention to my nutrition, if I'm not doing those things, I know because I've done this for so long that my attitude is going to be affected, that I'm not going to be as happy, right? I'm not getting all the endorphins and all the dopamine and all the things that I'm getting from doing the things that serve me if I don't do those things. And so it's kind of hard because you get into these states where, yeah, you're not doing all the things, but what I know I can keep doing, I can
Yes.
keep working out. And that is one thing that like I hold on to whatever season I'm in, because when I wake up, I get that workout in, regardless if I'm still having a kind of a negative mindset about something, it's still helping me.
That's
I
right.
know that because I know the chemicals that are being released. I know what's happening. So if I wasn't doing that thing, it's just going to be worse.
Yep.
So keeping one thing, one habit that serves you, I think is crucial to keep moving forward.
Mhm.
Um, at least for me. And continuing to acknowledge what's going on in your mind, continuing to acknowledge the things that are missing and not getting down on yourself about it, but more like making a plan of, okay,
That's right.
I know I need to get this thing back.
Yep.
How am I going to get there? And going back to the simple actions and things like that. And the second thing is, honestly, you guys, you hear it all the time. I'm sure you've heard it from Selena, you hear it from all over the place, having somebody to hold you accountable. And it's not really that the person is going to hold you accountable, but it's you committing to an accountability
Yep.
system of some sort.
Yeah.
So having that group to connect with. I have a friend that she wanted to get back with her workout. So she and I are texting in the mornings. I'm texting her at 5 saying, hey, are you up this morning? But it's really about you yourself committing to showing up with that other person or group.
Yep.
They can't force you to do it, but if you put it out there in the world, right, into your community, you say you want to do it, you put people around you to build that support, you're going to be way more likely to follow through with the
Right.
thing. I mean, research shows that people who write down their goals, share them with others, it's like 60 or something, don't quote me on the percentages, but 60 or something percent more likely that you're going to follow through with that thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny because we have a group workout in the morning and there's no words spoken. We don't get on and talk about anything. We don't there we're just there. And I think we make such a big deal about it that you have to have, dialogue every day about what you're up to and what you're doing. And anyone who's in our group knows I'm not the type of coach to like be all up in your Kool-Aid. Like I am there. And that's what you guys are for me too, is just available and accessible.
And
But this is
showing
the thing,
up.
showing up. And when I wake up in the morning, because I love what you said, that is to me too. If I move my body, if I can do one thing that day, moving my body is going to be the thing that helps me. I know
Mhm.
that. And drinking my water. If I
Yeah.
can do nothing else in the
Staying
day, those are the
hydrated.
two. Um, but uh, when I get up in the morning, I think there's this impression, even with somebody like you or myself, that we get up and we hop out of bed and we go
Yeah.
work out, and
Doing cartwheels and we're so excited.
this is, and so by the time I get to, if you follow me, like I dance in the morning in my kitchen. I leading up to that dance is not me getting up and like that is
Mhm.
my trigger that I'm like, we're doing this now. Like
Right.
we're doing it. So it's for me. I happen to share it with everyone, but I would still do it if it was just for me. And then I know, you guys are waiting for me. So it actually puts a sense of urgency in me. Like it's kind of funny, but I'm like, well, I don't want to get on too late because
And
then I
nobody
might
be
not.
there.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
So I truly am like, well, I gotta hustle. I gotta be there
Yeah.
when they're all there because I want to see
Yeah.
them and to be on and just like, I know you do and I do, and like we'll go in and just say, hey, keep crushing it, ladies, or whatever. And it's just that moment of connection with
Right.
what we know is going to serve us, but therefore serve those around us all day long. And it is not because we just like one day decided that this is what we do and it's amazing. Like there are days where I'm like moving slow.
Oh, it takes me 20 minutes to get down there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the other reason I just put my workout clothes on very first thing. I'm like, just put them on. Don't
Yeah.
even, I'm not messing around. We're
I
just putting
try, I
them on.
haven't, I'm hitting hit or miss right now. I usually have my morning, you know, drink
Yes,
by my bed. And I haven't been
yes,
doing that as much, but that, because we have this, plant-based energy
yeah,
drink that is sort of like a treat in the morning. So that's
it
one of the things
is.
I love about it. And it has the electrolytes and all that in it.
Yeah,
So I like to keep that by my bed as
yeah,
the like, okay, but I've been sort of failing at getting it
yeah,
ready at night. I know that sounds weird to
yeah.
have it sitting out overnight. It doesn't bother me at all, but that's one of those little habits that I'm
It's
like,
amazing.
okay, I need to make that effort at night because that little thing, having that on the nightstand
Mhm.
helps get me up instead of 20 minutes to get down. It helps cut off 5 minutes because everything starts waking up. Or even if you have
Yeah.
water, something by your bedside to
Yeah, well, and also
crave
like
it.
your morning routine starts at night. So exactly what you
Yeah.
said, what can you lay out? What can you have ready? And I love that method that you use because also you don't want to waste it. So like
Right.
if
Oh
you've
yeah.
already made it, you're like, well, I'm not just doing this for
Yeah.
the treat. I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
so I can go get a good workout in.
Yeah.
So and
Well, and
yes,
talking about all that, what we're saying with the accountability and all the things, I think some people hear this, but maybe they don't internalize it. I'm not sure, but all of those things, like our brain takes in all of those things, just like the likes on Instagram or Facebook or whatever social media platform. All of those tools are geared to set off dopamine, set off serotonin, set off those things. They also set off negative
that's
chemicals
right.
when negative stuff happens. But we have the ability in our everyday lives to become, for lack of a better term, addicted to the positive habits.
That's right.
Our brain craves that dopamine, it craves that serotonin, it wants all of those things, those endorphins. And we have a natural way to do those things.
Yep.
Having successful habits. Your brain releases the same thing. When you wake up out of bed and you get up on time, guess what? Those things go off in your mind. When you get downstairs and turn on and you have the screen of people on the, our accountability group is on the screen, same thing. Those positive chemicals get released in your mind. So I think it's just important that people know that we, uh, besides people who have medical conditions, right, who need medications and things like that, we have the ability to create all of that positive reward
Mhm.
internally
Mhm.
in our daily habits. And the
Yeah.
more of those things that we can create, the less we're going to need these outside things to uh,
Yeah.
give us those hits, right?
That's right. And it doesn't that wait, everything you just named doesn't cost anything. I think
Oh,
that's like the coolest thing to think about is that you don't yes, we aren't on here to promote our system, but it works. It works for us and it works for so many people we work with.
well,
You
and
can go
I'll
find
just say
go ahead.
it's God designed our brains
Yes.
this way. We just happen to have some tools that
Yes.
help reinforce how God made our brains work.
That's
And I,
right.
I
That's
think it's
right.
just so important if you're out there and you don't have, again, and going back to the accountability, if you don't have people to show up with, your brains were made to crave relationship,
That's right.
whatever that looks like. So having that accountability partner or whatever, it's about a relationship, a positive relationship within your life that you can connect with and that encourages you to keep showing up. So
That's right. Yeah.
he
And you
created it like this on purpose.
on purpose. And we forget how much is at our fingertips, like you were saying, that doesn't cost anything. And I think that, when you were talking about surrounding yourself with people too, like it may not be the current people
that are going to be pushing you. It may not
Right.
be that doesn't mean get rid of your current people,
No,
but who are you adding to the mix that's going to push you? And I know that's what you've done for me. And yeah, I'm so grateful, you were the one that reached out, but I know that, like I said, God was at work because he's like,
right,
you need Naudia in your life and you need her to push you. And we have so many people in our community like that. And I used to think I didn't need anyone
right,
for this. I was like, I could just go do this on my own. I can do Taibo with a video in my
right.
living room. Like
Yeah.
I don't need any of this. And community has been the glue. It's the thing in all the roller coaster, all the things, there's always somebody in our community that is leveling up that I can watch and be inspired by, and also someone in our community that's being vulnerable and real and
Yeah.
like, oh, that's right, we don't all have to show up perfect. It's really important that you
It
surround
is.
yourself with other people.
Where, yeah, whatever type of community, you got to make sure it's positive, serving you. And we don't, we, we used to live in a time where we all counted on each other. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look back in history, in American history anyways, during World War II and during these times where, okay, you have to show up. Somebody's running the local nurses station. Somebody's handing out the bread. Somebody's doing all these things. You're going to your neighbor. You're sharing resources. Women are showing up for jobs because men are at war. And so earlier in our history, there was a different type of community. You would go and connect with your neighbors and those. And we've come so far away from that. Um, People used to sit out in their garages and hang out. You come home from work and you see people and this and that. We are on such islands in our day, in our time right now, and our devices create that as well, where even, of course we can connect online and that's a good thing. However, it can also
Yeah.
create that isolation. And we don't just go up to the neighbors, right? You got to schedule in every single thing you do. So I think it's really hard for us to work against the society norms that we have right now, but you just got to keep working towards it because again, it goes back to how our brains are made.
Right.
And if you don't work towards community and you continue to work in isolation, you're going to have an uphill battle.
Yeah. Well, and the enemy, he loves it when we
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, that's
Yes.
his favorite thing. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Don't talk to anyone about it. Keep it to
Mhm.
yourself
Do it,
and
do
suffer.
it on your own.
Mhm.
All of that stuff. And that's when I recommitted, that's really where I was doing
Yeah.
stuff on my own, right? Nobody knew
Mhm.
what was going on with my family, all of those things, or very few people. We even had a situation during just some stuff that we were going to, our Connect group that we were in actually asked us to quit coming. And and so at that time I was
Hard.
like, fine,
Yeah.
nobody needs to know.
Good.
We're on our own.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll do it by myself. And
Yeah.
it just doesn't work.
No, it
It doesn't
doesn't.
work.
Same with me when I was in my darkest times has been when I just wasn't talking to anyone about
Mhm.
what was going on inside of me. And I think that you give it so much power when you just pull
Mhm.
even one person in. And I think that's what you and I have talked about time and time again is just text one person. And you don't
Yeah,
even have to give them the whole story.
right.
Just say, can you pray for me? Or
Yeah,
I want to start going for walks. Will you just come walk with me two
yeah,
times a week? I think also it doesn't have to be 7 days a week, every
right.
single morning. That it just integrate these things
Yeah,
into your life and incorporate. I love saying and think it's super powerful for me was this idea of just keep going. Like, so I didn't get my workout in yesterday.
yeah.
So
Just keep swimming.
just keep swimming and don't go back to day one.
No,
Just keep it. Your body
you're
has no
not starting
idea.
over.
Yeah,
That mentality of I've got to start over. You're
no,
not starting
no,
over. You're moving
no.
forward. You're taking one more step forward.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go back to birth to start over.
Yeah.
So we're not doing that.
I'm not doing
We're not
that.
doing that. Yeah, and what can I think for me what that did is it relieved all that pressure. And that's when over time I was like, oh, I'm like moving 4 days a week. That
Yeah.
feels pretty good. I'm moving 5 days a week. And oh, this week I only got 6 days in. That's okay. And then, last week, like my watch said, congratulations, you got 7 days in. And I'm like, oh, that's good. Like
Yeah.
you're not so fixated on it being perfect and it just
Mhm.
changes everything. But it starts with you just starting. And like you said, those mini habits. It's a really good book. I also what's the other one that you and I both love? The habit one. Shoot.
Compound
Oh,
effect.
compound effect. Yeah.
Yeah. That one's a short one too,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Nadia's a reader. I'm an Audibles.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you they're short both ways.
Yeah. They're quick.
Quick.
And that's the thing I like about books like that, where you can take there's so many books, and I've read even Atomic Habits, for example, great book, but there's a lot to take out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I like smaller ones that you can grab one little thing, apply it, and keep moving forward, right? You're not gonna, when you're doing personal development or whatever, you're not gonna do all the things
Yeah.
out of every single thing that you're reading. It's just a matter of taking that one little nugget,
Mm-hmm.
applying it to your life, and maybe it's just that book that you're focusing on for a month, 6 months,
Yeah.
whatever, if you want to
Yeah.
work through and add things, habits and things to your life.
Yeah. Again, it's your plan and it's your life and it's what's going to serve you. I think that what you were saying before about even working out and, how the one push up and all of that, that applies to personal development too. There are days where I get 3 minutes in
Yeah.
of a podcast and it is enough to like,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm in
It's
control of
enough.
this. Yep,
Yeah.
that's enough. And I think it's important for us to remember we in all the aspects of our life, being present with your kids. Like maybe you sucked at it yesterday, but you're not going to go back, start over on that, right? You're going to go and be present with them today and
Mhm.
maybe make it 4 minutes you sit with
Yeah.
them and like, play a game or whatever.
I love
It's
that. You got a tip a while back that I use sometimes about setting the timer for 15 minutes,
Mhm.
right? To give that intentional time to your kids. Again, just it goes back to self-awareness, knowing what it is, having that vision for yourself, of course, where you want to be, how you want to show up, and all those things. Those big goals are great, but then uh, being aware of your mindset, what's going on in there, what you're succeeding at, giving yourself praise for that, giving yourself acknowledge that you are doing great things, and the things that you want to keep, moving forward on. Okay, acknowledge it, and then
Yeah, make a plan, like you
make
said.
those plans.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think that's
Um, yeah, I love all of this, and I know that we're gonna be helping somebody just like get moving,
yeah,
or just start reading a book, or maybe even it's just 5 minutes of prayer each day.
yeah,
Whatever the thing is, it's just do something that's gonna serve you, and over time those habits will start to form, and we're here cheering you
yeah.
on and all that. So, okay, we're going to wrap up with some questions. Before we get into my normal questions, I do want to ask you, who influences you? Who are your influencers?
Gosh.
I know so many. I didn't even warn you about the question.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I was telling you, I have to do this recording of a
Mhm.
story, for this contract thing that I'm doing. And it's recording a story about somebody who's influenced you, one of your
Oh,
biggest
perfect.
influences.
Good.
Yeah.
Fresh on your
And
mind. Got it.
although she's not around, I mean,
Oh.
my grandma Judy was a huge influencer in my life. One thing that I could always count on with her was that no matter what you said, what you did, what was going on, she always had a positive word, a positive encouragement, whatever. I would see her with my grandpa be like, "Oh, father," he was really grumpy, and she'd kind of
Yeah.
say something like that to him. But I never saw her yell and my dad is really quirky, so I won't go into all that. Just the way she would talk to him or handle him or
Mm,
all of those things, I just was always amazed at how positive she was.
love that.
And I'm not that way, unfortunately. I mean, I don't come across like, I
You
wouldn't
are in
say
a different way.
I'm in and just different. And so
You're a pull up your bootstraps kind of.
and that's how she was too, like
Yeah.
pull it up, move forward, the
Yep.
kind of thing. But she had just a very kind, gentle demeanor about her. Um, but she would give you the truth. It's kind of like giving you your dessert with your vegetables. She'd give you the truth and you'd feel good about it. And I just I try to keep her in my mind, and when I'm just in general, for my life, like that's my like hashtag life goals is
Oh,
when I'm a grandma, my
yes.
grandkids will remember that kind of stuff about me.
Yeah.
Um,
That.
I mean, there's just so many people, because that's what I teach at school. Like,
Yeah.
leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That's John
Mhm.
or James Hunter. And so everybody has the influence. I just had a student a couple weeks ago who I tell them, come up to me if I'm ever too blunt or direct or something doesn't, because I didn't mention I was in the military also.
Oh,
And I had
that's right. We forgot to tell them
and I
that
also
part.
I was in the Air Force,
It
but I
comes
had a
out every
very,
once in a while.
yeah, and I had a very direct, like my mom's side, all my uncles and grandpa, they're all very harsh. So sometimes that I tend to get uh, be that way, very blunt, right? Or just matter of fact. So I tell my students, you got to talk to me if there's something. So she did. She came up, you could tell she was super, super nervous. I was so proud of her. She just
Oh.
said the way I had talked to the group about something because they missed some details and this and that. And that type of stuff influences me so much because I love, first of all, that she was brave enough to come talk to me. Second of all, she called me on something that I told them I'm trying to work on. I mean, I put
Yes,
it
I
out there that
love that.
yeah, I'm trying to work on these things. I need you guys to keep me accountable. And so those things, I'm going to remember that because again, her coming to me directly is just a powerful thing.
It's so true.
So I have
What a
so,
life lesson too,
yeah,
because I know as an adult, in the workplace or whatever,
yes.
or in ministry, like it's scary. I heard something the other day and I love it so much is give them your last 10%. So if you know that you are telling them something that you need to tell them, but we do this thing at the end where we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So we don't give them that like the full truth of what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
And it was for me as a leader, I'm like, that's so good because it's scary and
Mhm.
it's nerve-wracking and you
You
don't
got
know
to
how
figure
the
out how to
other.
say things the right way, right?
Yes, and but I love that you gave them that opening, and also that this is such a powerful thing that personal development does for you is that growth mindset. Like you weren't
Mhm.
like, no, I'm
I'm the
45.
teacher. This is this. I have
Yeah,
this authority.
yeah, yeah. I love
Right.
that. That's
It's
so
huge. And
powerful.
like I said, she was very nervous, kind of
Yeah,
tearing up, that
yeah,
sort of thing. And
yeah.
that the end of that conversation was me thanking her so much. And that what you just talked about in as she becomes an adult in job situations and having that's so powerful to be able to talk to somebody who's your authority, right? You're
Yeah,
above you, I guess you could
yeah.
say. And so anyways,
I
that
love
kind of
that.
stuff is a
That's a good
huge,
example.
I love stuff like that.
Mm, I love it too. Okay, our fun questions. So what are you feeding your mind with right now? We just talked about all of them, but currently, what are you feeding
Yeah.
your mind with?
Yeah. Well, I just finished up Think, Act, Believe like Jesus. And
Oh,
it's paired. It also has a devotional that now I'm going to start, excuse me, the devotional, but it's really talking about what are the key beliefs. If you believe in God, what are the things that you have to believe in
mm-hmm.
order to really internalize these other things.
Ooh, love.
So I mean, for example, the first thing is heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Mm,
you really believe in heaven? Do you believe
mm-hmm.
in this place where we go one day that you can't see? So it walks you through those key beliefs of the Bible. What do you think about it? What does this mean for your life? That sort of thing.
Ooh, I love that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to
so
get it.
it's really good and it's eye-opening, right? Because when you sit here and think about these key things of the things you must believe if you're a Christian, and it's
If you're kind
okay
of
if you're
asking yourself, you're like,
yeah, and it's
yeah,
okay if you're not there.
yeah.
Then it's like walking you through what you might need to do to get there. And again, more personal development, studying certain things and that sort of thing. So that's where I'm at right now. And I'm going to start the devotional that goes with it.
Ooh, I love that. What brings you joy?
Um, really, I was thinking about this going, oh man, beach vacations, time with my family. What is it? And then it hit me and I don't always get to go in. I work at church also. I don't always get to go into service, but when I get to go in for worship in the morning,
Mm.
we have a really amazing loud band and in the way that's loud enough for you can sing at your top of your lungs. You don't have to worry about the person standing next to you hearing you or thinking you have a terrible voice or whatever.
Yes, you just
And
let it free.
I just
Uh,
it just fills me up so much because usually whatever they're praying or playing is a prayer. Worship to me is a prayer. Like you've given me the words. This is exactly what I need to be praying right now. And so
mhm.
just being able to let everything go and not worry about who's watching, what I'm doing, and just giving that time to God, like giving him. When a gal that used to work at our church, she said to the kids one time, and I always say this when I talk to them about worship, it's the only actual gift we can give to God.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, we give money and tithing to do things for God's kingdom, but like the gift that goes directly there is worship. And I just love that
Mhm.
idea that,
Mhm.
yeah, so that's definitely something that brings me joy.
I love that. What's your favorite way to pause?
I
Vacation.
like, yeah, I mean, of course, a beach. Sleeping in on Saturday is my weekly
Yes, I
pause.
know.
And we have a very comfortable bed, so
Yes,
not having to get up at 4:30 or whatever. I
yes.
usually roll out of bed at around 8 on Saturdays.
Yes, I mean, fun fact, we've done like community stuff on Saturdays and stuff like
Uh,
that, and you
I
protect that
try to
time, and I
commit.
love it. You're like, I'll see you at 8.
Like, I can't. I can't. And habits, you should like, there is this thing about getting up at the same time every single day, and I cannot get on board with that one.
I love that. She's like, that habit's not for me. I've got to have other habits that fill that.
I need to sleep in on Saturdays.
Yeah, I love that
And
you have
I'm
that.
fortunate my husband lets me. He gets, when the kids get up, and he takes care of that stuff. And
So,
I'm thankful for that.
yes, I'm always jealous. He brings you your smoothie right after you work out each morning. I'm always like,
Yes.
where's mine, John?
Even when we're arguing.
Ah!
Okay.
Oh, that's I'll have to like, I'll just text you behind the scenes now. Like, was today one of those days?
Yeah. Even when we've had something going on, I mean,
Yeah, sweet. That's
yeah.
like his olive branch, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I still love you. Here's your smoothie. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. What advice would you give yourself if you could go back in time? You get to pick
Oh
where you
my
go back in time.
gosh, there's so much. But
I
because
know.
this is what's on my mind right now and where we're at, I would tell my younger self, start counseling.
Mm,
Go however you can make it work, especially because, when you're younger, you have no money, so you probably qualify for free stuff. Go to counseling. You guys, your families have messed you up. You've had trauma. You bring it all with you,
yeah,
and we are not experts. I am not a counselor. I don't, yes, I love mindset, and I know how to
right.
change behaviors, and I know all these things. I know these things, but having somebody walk along with you to help you change your brain patterns around relationships or arguing or how you respond in certain situations, we just don't realize how much we need of an outside, I think, perspective to help us through that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and
So,
like a neutral perspective,
yeah.
right? One that's not in it with you.
And why
Yeah.
does this thing trigger you and that thing, where does this come from? Again, becoming aware of those things. So that's definitely something I wish I would have started a
That
lot,
is
lot younger.
really good advice. And it just gave me an idea for an episode down the road, is I think I'm going to go through and put everyone's pieces of advice
Oh, that's
together,
so
because
great.
I'm like learning so much from
Yeah,
I'm like, this is really good advice. So yeah, I love that.
that's a good idea.
What's a favorite product you can't live without? I can't wait to hear.
I was trying to figure this out. Gosh, I'm, n-
I mean,
I,
PB Fit comes to mind for both of
well,
us.
that was the one of the things I was going, I kind of love my PB Fit. Honestly, if we run out and I have my shake, I'm going, what's wrong with
What's
this?
wrong with this?
Different. What happened?
Yes.
I absolutely, yes, I do love my PB Fit.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll
Hot
just have
tip,
to
you
go.
guys. So Nadia got me to make your smoothie, and we have the world's best, in our opinion, superfoods protein powder. It's for
Mhm.
me, it's not chalky and it's amazing and I love it. And Nadia's like, you want it even better, put a scoop of PB Fit in there. And
Or
that
peanut
was
butter
what
powder, whatever brand you like.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. 3 years ago or something, you told me that I will never make a smoothie without it ever
Well,
again.
and I love peanut butter and I love real, but when I choose cheese, okay,
Smoothie.
so I don't want to eat all the fats
Yeah.
all the day. So when I got introduced to that, I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
peanut butter
Yes.
powder. We use it. We make Asian food a lot. We make peanut sauce. We make all sorts of stuff with that thing. But in the smoothie, you can't tell it's
Mhm.
not peanut butter either. Like a scoop of
No.
peanut butter. It's the
Yeah,
same.
and it makes it smoother. And so
Yeah.
anyways,
So
I
good.
didn't mean to give you your
No,
product, but
that was on the top of my list. So it's like, is there anything else? I
yeah.
was thinking of, but no, I love my
I love
PB
it.
Fit.
Well, I am grateful for you in my life. I'm so thankful that God would have us intersect back at the, and this is now forever. Like, so, it's
Yeah.
not high school anymore. We're doing this for the rest of our lives. But I know that you've been such an influence in mine and such an influence in our community. And if you guys, if you go follow Nadia, where should they follow you? Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, at Naudia Bosch, Naudia.Bosch, I think is my Instagram. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
And she's got great mindset tips. She does really awesome reels where they just kind of like, oh, yeah, I needed that word today. So go follow her and you'll love having her. And she is a straight shooter. She's going to tell you exactly how it should be. And I need that in my life because I can get a little fluffy some days. So I love that.
Well, that's always like in my stories when I post my workout stuff. The music I usually use or the motivation stuff, it's
Yes.
mostly where I'm at.
Yeah.
What do I need today? That's what I'm
Yeah.
putting on there.
Oh, I love that so much. All right. Well, I love you, girl. And thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was so fun.
Thank you for listening. I'm just so grateful that you would take the time to be here with me today. I hope that if there's anything that inspired you or got you excited, that you would share it to social media or send me a message with any input or feedback that you have. And just really appreciate the support and the encouragement that I get from you guys all the time. I will keep showing up and I hope you keep listening.